one of the really cool things about Mortal Kombat and about some of the really great games. If you have a really great winning concept, often, you know, they got that game running in like a month. A lot of modern games, it seems like they spend all their time in this graphical wilderness trying to get everything looking so cool, and then they've got like 3 weeks left to figure out what the game is.
We had a very fast iteration. I would get art from John, you know, we put it in, and an hour later, we were playing it. Let me just go. And actually hit the
Raiden wins.
The first time you play it, you just go, this is incredible. You knew you were on the right course.
Ed was like just eager to have people in and give him feedback on stuff.
A lot of times it was just, you know, someone, you'd have someone in your office to look at something and they go, hey, what about this? And then, you know, maybe that's a good idea.
Ideas could come and be turned into reality in the same day.
Yeah,
basically.
in fact, I remember we would record a little bit of footage.
Okay, one more time. All right, that's good.
And it wasn't until Ed actually got the frames and could get them in the game, not until that point would we know that we were making the right choices.
When we were making this game, Street Fighter II was the big rage, and I was a huge admirer of that game. At the same time, I felt like there was a little bit more ceiling room in terms of how outrageous you can get with the moves. We wanted characters using magic, disappearing, teleporting, doing all these kind of unpredictable things. And a lot of the moves were constructed from kind of almost like scraps. Kano's ball was from his flipping animation. Scorpion's teleport was from his jump punch animation.
You know, Scorpion throwing a spear and pulling somebody in, that, you know.
It was something that I remember I thought of that was just an outrageous move that wasn't seen in any other fighting game.
Right, although we used to try to do the wind up and throw is usually like 5 frames maybe. Like if you went like
Yeah, something like that.
It was one of those spur of the moment, inspirational ideas that ended up becoming like very signature, very iconic to Mortal Kombat.
The way he was implementing them was so interesting because he uses the frames of animation, and he was, as a programmer, would move them around to do things. Like he would define like how things animated across the screen.
When we did the Liu Kang flying kick, you got to stop him once he makes contact, and it'll make the impact feel like it's a lot more intense and more forceful. Iterating again and again how important it is that we get the timing of all these things correct.
Other than, you know, how John would define what the actual frames of animation were, Ed defined how things moved around.
There's little nuances that are put into the game that a lot of players don't identify, but they just know that it feels good, and they're not sure why.
I think that was a hard lesson to learn back in the day of, hey, I want this animation to be really smooth and I want it to be like 100 frames. And it's like, no, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And it has to feel good.
Like, it's got to have impact. Impact and drama, you know, that's what people are going to respond to.
Get over here, you know, the uppercut was such a big, ridiculous reaction.
Getting the animation of the character launching them into the air, putting the blood on it, being knocked down, and
they shake the screen.
And the sound call that Dan Forden did.
It's like, no, we need like a really big sound for a hit. It's like, okay, so I made like a really big sound for a hit. The scream of the attacker. The victim, you know, yelling as he flies away. Put all that stuff together, it's like, boom. It's like, oh my God.
I remember we were just walking around just doing uppercuts again and again and going, you know, God, that feels so good, that feels so good.
That's how people knew when something was cool in any game. People were gonna be like, holy smokes. And now you know you have something. And then, so that, and then the fatality.
Like fatalities were the big thing that made us a hit.